What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today I'm coming at you with a brand new learning how to play for cubics. So, if you don't know what cubics are, they summon this guy and attack for game. That's I do make a little bit of a joke out of it, but it actually is a very sort of straightforward sort of OTK go second thing. Where in reality, that is all you're kind of doing. You're summoning this guy and then attacking for game. So, let's jump right into it by talking about this guy, our boy Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. He is a Dark Fiend with 3,000 attack, 0 defense. Can only be special summoned from the hand by revealing 3 other cubic cards in your hand with different names. It is unaffected by other monsters' activated effects whose original attack is 3,000 or less, so basically you have to be stronger than it in order to affect it. When it destroys the opponent's monster at battle, it can attack again. And during the end phase, each player takes 3,000 burn. This is a hard once return, and it's kind of the best win condition of this deck. In order to help us get to that, though, we have a few other cards, which I think we can just go over in order pretty easily. So, yeah, no, it's fine. So your most important card is going to be Duza, the Meteor Cubic Vessel. When it's summoned, you can Foolish a Cubic card. That's all you do. Graveyard Step is great in this deck just because there are a lot of... Well, basically all the spell traps have really cool graveyard effects. But the one you'll be most likely sending off for Duza is Cubic Karma. It's a continuous spell. Its normal effect is that when it's activated, you target a cubic you control except Vijam, the Cubic Seed, which, well, we'll go over him in a little bit. Then you can send any number of copies of Vijam, the Cubic Seed, from your hand or deck to the grave, and then the monster you target gains 800 for each, even if this card leaves the field. Then during your opponent's turn, if Vijam, the Cubic Seed, is special summoned by the effect of a cubic monster, you can send it to the grave and have your opponent's life points, but the relevant effect is it banishes itself from the graveyard to Rhoda for a cubic monster. Which is usually going to be your Crimson Nova, or another cubic monster of a different name in case you already have Crimson Nova but not enough names. And that's kind of where the deck focuses around, getting to Duza to get to your Crimson Nova. So, a few ways we had to get to Duza. First off, Foolish Burial Goods. As I mentioned, all of the spell traps and cubics have really cool graveyard effects. So you activate this, send Karma, banish Karma, search Duza, summon Duza, send another Karma, activate another Karma, gets your Crimson Nova, because it is not a hard once return, which I love. Beyond that, though, the other way we have of really just getting to Duza is going to be our Unification of the Cubic Lords. As a trap, it's just a fusion summon for this big guy, which I did try to make an option as far as running goes, because he's kind of cool, and I never see him summoned. But its graveyard effect makes it so that if a face-up cubic monster is destroyed by battle or leaves the field, you can banish it from the grave to summon a level 4 or lower cubic from your deck or hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. And it's indestructible that turn, so it's another way to get to your Duza. Beyond that, though, we also have Cubic Dharma, which is another really good card. It's a continuous spell. You can banish it from the grave to recover a cubic from your grave. Not quite as relevant, but its other effect makes it so you take no battle damage involving with monsters if it involves a cubic monster. The effect we want, though, is the one that lets you send a cubic card from your hand to the graveyard and draw a card. So that if you draw into your Karma, this is a way to sort of unbrick as well as get a search off, and just get rid of any other extra cubic cards you just don't want to have. So run it free, very good card. Let's see. That's about all the ways we have to get to Crimson Nova. Let's go over the rest of the deck then. So, starting with Vijam, the Cubic Seed. So, it's a level 1 Fiend, 0 attack and defense. It cannot be destroyed by battle, and that has a very unique effect. After it is done battling, you can move it to the spell and trap card zone, and the monster at battle last gets a cubic counter. And what a cubic counter does is, according to the card itself, monsters with a cubic counter cannot attack, also negate their effects. So it effectively just makes your monster a paperweight. This is probably the most consistent way the deck has of spreading cubic counters. But it's good to have for a sort of grind or set path situation where you just don't have your Crimson Nova immediately. The other way we have to get cubic counters is Cubic Wave, a normal spell. As just a spell, lets you target cubic you control and a face-up monster your opponent controls. You double that cubic monster's attack, and you have that other monster's attack permanently. So that's actually pretty good. However, the relevant effect is that you can banish it along with any number of cubic monsters from your graveyard to put cubic counters on monsters your opponent controls equal to the number banished. So, like, if you have a whole bunch of cubics in your graveyard and a wave, you could just banish 5, negate their whole board. It's honestly really cool. I like it, and it's normally I actually probably wouldn't run this because it does feel like a sort of win more card, but it has come in clutch several times for me in the past, and the ability to actually put out lots of negates is pretty cool. Beyond that, though, we just have some basic support, terraforming to search our field spell, which is Fusion Recycling Plant, which we'll get into in a bit. Free Pot of Extravagance, because we don't care about our extra deck whatsoever. We have just a few more cubics. Gira and Indiora Doom. Indiora, it's neat. It's like a recruiter deal, so it's fine. Gira is here mostly because it's a name. I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of cubics are only in decks because they are names for Crimson Nova. The only one that isn't would be like Indioria, so consider running it if you would like it. It just recruits though, so be aware. Now, because I did want to summon the fusion monster a little bit, we actually did a fairly minor fusion engine in the form of Fusion Recycling Plant. So it's a field spell that lets you, once per turn, discard any one card from your hand to add a poly from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and once per turn during the end phase, it lets you recover a monster used for part of a fusion summon. So, good field spell. Makes it so you only really have to run one poly ever. So that's pretty good. It also gives you the ability to discard things to activate graveyard effects if you need to. So really helpful card. Beyond that, we just have, well, I said terraforming to search the field spell. Yeah, but beyond that, it's just the extra deck. So, Borals for taking things, Borals for OTKing, removal package. Now let's go over the fusion monster, because he is far more interesting than them. It is Crimson Nova Trinity, the Dark Cubic Lord. Requires free Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord to summon, and it must be special summoned with the above materials and cannot be special summoned by other ways. It's untargetable and immortal to your opponent's card effects, and when it declares an attack, it halves your opponent's life points, and when it destroys a monster by battle, it can make a second attack during this battle phase, and if you take effect damage, you inflict your opponent that same damage. So because Crimson Nova burns both of you, your opponent's taking 6k while you are only taking free. It halves life points twice just for attacking twice as long as the monster's on board. Even if a monster's not on board, it'll just have your life points and kill you for game, because that's 4,500 attack points there. So yeah, I honestly love this card. I think it's a really cool going second thing. It's just very hard to summon. And I feel like cubic deck space isn't super tight, so it's pretty easy to fit it in. So you know what? You can summon it with this deck, and I think that's pretty cool. Now for the side deck, again, fairly standard. 1 red reboot for trap heavy matchups, free infinite impermanence because it's a hand trap, 2 twin for spell trap removal, free call by the grave to stop hand traps because this deck does a lot of searching and graveyard setup, free lightning storm because sometimes we really want to go second, and free ash in case we ever just need to stop an ideal search in any circumstance. But yeah, all that being said, if you're new here, we just go over a replay or two. I think I actually have, no, it's still one this time. It's hard to find, like, perfect replays, unfortunately. But yeah, we just go over replays, or replay in this case. I tell you the deck's combos, what I liked, what I didn't like, so on and so forth. And yeah, all that being said, I will see you guys in the replay. Alright everybody, welcome to the replay with Elmer Hermero. We are Tab, as per usual, and this game basically just shows what cubics do, how consistent they are, and just they're really good at their job. But let's go and get right into it. So our opponent is playing a Raid Raptor thing, and will be going first. So he's going to go ahead and summon the last Strix. Go ahead and pop into the Revolution Falcon, then use Rank Up Magic Raid Force to go into the Arsenal Falcon. I didn't really read this one too heavily, but it doesn't have a quick effect, so that's fine. But yeah, at that point, we're going to our opponent is going to set 2, the Phantom Knight's Claw, one of the new ones. I believe it just negates monster effects, so that's pretty cool. Then he also has Raptor's Gust, which is like 2/3 of a Infernity barrier for Raid Raptors. So a little unfortunate that you kind of have to run both of these, but it's fine. But anyways, we're back to us now, so we are going to go ahead and draw, getting the Vajam, which is pretty sick. However, this does not give us enough names for our boy Crimson Nova. So we're going to activate Foolish Burial to send the Karma. Karma's going to search as Arduza. We're going to summon Arduza, which will send a Karma. Karma once more to go ahead and search another Crimson Nova, which we will now be able to summon. We are going to attempt to activate the Fusion Recycling Plant because we had the potential to... We could have summoned Trinity if he did not ruin our fun, but that's besides the point, I guess. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and stop our Fusion Recycling Plant, and which will mean we just sort of summon Crimson Nova and do what cubics do and just attack for game. After a cubic wave is used, of course. So he destroyed a monster by battle. That triggered floating into the Final Fortress Falcon. However, we do get to attack another time, so it's not a pure Crimson Nova win here. So our opponent is going to once again get beat over, and then we just attack with Duza for game. And that's what the deck does. It's a really simple setup. It just OTKs. I honestly do really like Crimson Nova and Trinity as cards. I think they're both just absolutely fantastic boss monsters that really do a good job of going second. But honestly, the deck isn't extremely complicated unless you're doing like a Vajam the Cubic Seed Turbo build or something. It's a pretty straightforward strategy, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I enjoy the deck. I know a lot of people who play it enjoy it, and it's just a good time, honestly. It really is just a good time. You can pick the deck up pretty quickly, I think, and start doing the big plays. So yeah, I know I would definitely recommend this one to people. But yeah, so that's going to be pretty much the video. A little bit shorter than I usually do, unfortunately, but I think it's fine. And yeah, if you have any decks you want me to play, please let me know in the comments. Anything I can do to improve this deck, anything I did super right or super wrong, things like that. But yeah, all that being said, like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.